Welcome to Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. I hope that you're having a fantastic Sunday. I'm Ryan Magic Lasso, hosting Fanboys Live and the Retro Review tonight, joined by our regular panelists. Let's say hello first to Tim, the comic collector. Hi, Tim.
What's up? How's everybody doing?
Doing great. It's good to see you again. How's your weekend going?
Pretty good.
Good. And also joined by Comic Food 2814. How are you?
Going well. Good to see you
Good.
guys.
And you're having a good weekend too?
Yeah. I was running a little late trying to make it for the show, but yep.
You're
I'm
here,
here.
and that's what counts.
Yep.
Hello to everyone that will be watching on the rewind as well. We certainly appreciate that too. And of course, to the ones that are live and joining us now, tailgating was, first and foremost, he found my channel, Comic Food 2814, who's here with us. So thanks for being in the chat. She don't need her son to be here to know where the fun boys are. Christy is joining us. So thank you so much, Christy. A guy that was maybe about 3 hours away from me earlier this week, but didn't get a chance to see him sometime in the future. Glitter Lord is chatting with us. We also say hello to another panelist who's in the panel as well, in the chat panel, Tim the Comic Collector, who's here. We have Ruben Guzman, or as Comic Head 84 likes to say, Ruben Guzman. So thank you so much for stopping by today. A guy who was talking so nice about me, of all people, today in a group chat. And I even went back and said, Brock said that about me after I continuously call him Brock A. Lee. He was talking nice about me today. So thanks, Brock.
He likes to stir the pot usually.
Yeah, I know. I collect a lot this year. It's great to see you.
Got a lot of good ones now.
Yeah, a lot of great people. So thank you, folks who are here now. And of course, we'll acknowledge the folks that will be stopping by as well. And as I said at the beginning, if you're watching on the rewind, we certainly appreciate your time. Kentucky Fried Chicken must be closed for the night. Just a Nerd is here.
Don't forget poor Mike.
I didn't. Oh, it jumped on me. I apologize, poor Mike. Sometimes StreamYard jumps, and it jumped on me right at the time that you dropped your comment. So, but it's great to see you. Thanks, Tim, for catching that.
Can't even afford a shout out.
So before we get into DC news, I've been anxious to talk with my DC friends about this. This book came out this week. Has anybody read Superman 78 yet?
I have not.
No.
Did you guys buy it?
Is that from the movie?
Yes,
this
is the Christopher Reeve version.
Nice.
No, I
like
haven't
that.
picked anything up in a couple weeks, but I probably will this week.
I can't wait for you guys to read this. I won't give a spoiler. What I will tell you are two things that are non-spoiler-ish. Number one, this is based on what was a proposed script for a Christopher Reeve movie that didn't get made, which is why we're seeing Brainiac as the
like the first one. Like instead of the first movie,
Superman 5 or something.
What's that, Tim?
Would it have been Superman 5?
No, it's definitely taking place before 3. So
let me ask you a question. Have you read Batman 89?
I haven't, but after reading this, I'm very anxious to see if it's as good as this was.
See, I'll be honest. I was hesitant about picking that issue up you're holding because I didn't dig Batman 89. But to be fair, even the movies I like at DC, I'm not a huge movie guy. I prefer the comics, and I think that's why I wasn't into Batman 89. You know what I mean? So I read that, and I'm like, I don't think these movie ones are for me. So I was going to ask you if, it was better than 89. But
I haven't read, but like I said, reading this made me want to buy 89. The other thing that I'll say about this issue, as I also say hello as well to Brandon Looney Tunes Fan 2000. I know he's his channel subscriber, so thank you so much for stopping by, Brandon. When I was reading this issue, and it started, like on the first page, there's Jor-El. And I heard Marlon Brando's voice in my head. Nice. And when I get there, I hear Christopher Reeve talking. I hear Margot Kidder talking. Nice. And just for that excitement of it, it was such a great experience. The issue went way too fast. But I guess that's a sign of something that's good.
I mean, of any DC movie to date, I would say the original 2 Superman movies are still, I mean, I think the ones I'm still most fond of, you know?
Yeah.
Best memories, maybe.
Sure.
I
love
need to
those movies.
rewatch them. I was probably 20, 21 the last time I watched those movies.
I think that they hold up.
Yeah,
and
I really
what is
need
it?
to go
The
back
second
and watch
one,
them.
actually, they have like a Snyder cut style version for what's the director's name?
Richard Donner.
Donner. Yeah, they've got the Donner cut.
Hello to Tony Fett as well, who is traveling, which is the reason why he isn't on stream with us.
It sort of plays into news, you know, Suicide Squad 3 is a go, and as well as the Harley Quinn TV show, and that's why Tony Fett isn't with us. He's on location filming.
So, nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yep. And we haven't seen any bets paid off. We had a deadline for a bet to get paid off. We haven't seen that happen yet, which is probably good, though, because Tony should be here when that happens, because he was one of the people who made the bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, in a way, depending on how the outfit goes, we could all lose, you know.
Exactly.
That's true. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's the branding I want for my channel. So DC News.
Do this on his channel.
Yes. DC News, what's going on?
I saw that I guess a la Deceased, they're coming out with a 12-issue DC Universe versus Vampires maxi series.
Interesting.
Which could be, you know, good like Deceased, or, you know, could go the other way. You never know.
Hello to Crazy Ivan. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, that's a good idea, Tony. That should have been the tagline. Hello to Aggressively Relaxing / Vacuum Cleaner.
You guys ever watch Beer to Pop? You ever heard of that channel?
I have heard of that.
He has an amazing show, me and my watch wife, on Wednesdays. And why I'm bringing this up is the bet between Flash and Tony. They open mystery boxes, husband and wife, and add up the values, you know, so there's a winner or a loser. Yep. And then the next week, the loser has to dress up. That could be something we get going on Fanboys.
Yeah.
In some way or another.
Yeah. So one of the things in DC News that I read about this week, I saw that DC said to retailers, was explaining some of the delays for their books and to expect more delays with several titles over the next several months. Two of the reasons that were cited were COVID-19, and I saw that they said the lack of paper. You know, there isn't as much paper available.
Huh.
Now, I have a little bit of a problem with that.
Why would paper be short? You know,
because I guess not as much is getting manufactured because plants were laid off, or workers were laid off during the COVID-19. So my issue with that is, and if anyone disagrees with this, you know, I welcome your hot take on it, but then how about just give us one cover for a book instead of 3 covers for a book, and save that paper for another title that's not getting published at all. At least they can get one cover out.
Well, what about Marvel? Aren't they known for putting way too many comics out? And I haven't heard about their COVID delays. Yeah. To me, this reminds me of 2 things. People were fired, and you know, they were just recently they were putting out books with, what do you call it, the editor's lines still in there that are supposed to be gone.
Yep.
This sounds more to me like when you go to a McDonald's that don't have fries and they give you an excuse, but it's because the 18-year-old running the store forgot to order fries. That's what I think is really going on at DC. So
right.
Yeah. We don't need 5. And that's the thing, you know, if paper is that short, give us a Superman comic with 1 cover on it, or a Batman or a Wonder Woman or whatever with 1 cover on it, and publish and use that paper you would have spent on the B and C covers and get another book out there that was supposed to be out.
Did you see like the deadline, like what the things have been changed to?
Yeah,
like
I did.
One series I think is going to have an issue come out 3 weeks in a row. And it's like, is this really a paper shortage? Like, what's going on here? How can you produce that many that quick afterwards?
Something
they're inconsistent, right? I mean, it feels like they don't know what the plan is.
But they're consistently inconsistent.
They got people
Whatever
that
happened
don't
to
know
just
what they're
putting
doing
out
now.
a good book each month, you know?
Thank you.
That don't get
Clark
you Twitter
Kent
followers,
Superman, Bruce Wayne Batman, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, because nobody wants those other ones.
Plus, if they didn't put out the multiple covers, they wouldn't be able to make any money on the comics.
Exactly.
They wouldn't make money selling one cover of a comic.
Says to me,
if they started making good comics again, maybe put them at the checkout stands of the supermarket and start doing what used to work.
Yep.
Yeah,
hello to Mars Comics who stop
really
by
need.
as well.
What's
I
that?
miss seeing comic books in the grocery store and in spinner racks and stuff in pharmacies and stuff. And
you know who's still there? Who I saw in the spinner, or not spinner rack, but in the checkout stand of a Walmart?
Archie.
So Archie Comics there.
They're still there. Archie's
really? I didn't know
still
that.
There.
They're not here, but I'll take your word that you guys have seen them because I'm not seeing them.
It's not comic book format. It's like the mini books.
Digest.
Oh, the little digest.
I think it was Walmart, but it might have been like a Schnucks or something. It might have been both, to be honest with you. But yeah, they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they can do it, I think that we can get back to doing it. So,
yeah.
Any other DC news going on?
I saw that they're preparing to have Aqualad take over as Aquaman for at least for a miniseries.
I did see that too.
Yeah. Oh.
And
that seems to be their MO right now.
The Jackson Hyde Aqualad.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, he's either gay or bisexual as well, isn't he? This character?
I don't know.
I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm serious. I thought that what.
Well, it would have to be because they all are now.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of stories he's in. I think he was confirmed that in Teen Titans, wasn't he? Like Rebirth Teen Titans.
Tony says yes.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
That's sort of, what Dave mentioned, like, why don't they write good stories? It's just much easier to change characters.
Like, honestly, I don't care if there was a gay character, but when, like, you're, like, going out of your way to make every character, like, some form of gay, it's like, what is the point? What are we doing?
Yeah.
That's not why I read comic books.
It's all about, it's crazy. It's not about sales anymore. It's about Twitter likes.
Yeah.
Literally all that matters is Twitter likes. And there's nothing that's going to get you more than doing that to a character.
Yeah. And unfortunately, most of the people that are liking those Twitters aren't buying the books.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah.
Like you could have a really cool character, but they're just watering it down, they're making it a joke of itself, a parody of itself,
Like Batwoman was a great character, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's, that's a lesbian.
There you go.
And her first run with, I forget who even wrote it now, was fantastic. And there was a big old deal about those writers leaving, I believe, because DC wouldn't let them get married. Her and the Question. I mean, think about that. DC wouldn't let something like that happen at that point. Well, when Batwoman came back, it was like, I didn't even know how to describe it. Like, it was so blatant. Like, every issue randomly, someone would be like, "You're a lesbian," like out of nowhere, instead of like an actual good story with a lesbian in the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like they have to keep reminding people.
Yeah, you get to the very last issue of that series, and the villain's getting dragged away, and he's like, "They got me because they're lesbians or something," and it's like, that's so out of. It takes you out of the story. You know what I mean? Like, and to even give you an example, the first volume went 40, 50 issues or something. The next one went like 19, 17.
Yeah,
that's like the change in storytelling now. Like, it don't matter that you do that, but write a good story around it. It can't just be, hey, look at me. So
now we say all of this, but I have to warn you. My retro review for tonight is from the Silver Age, and when you talk about telling a good story, it's like, they've always had certain problems.
I've got an interesting one tonight too.
Yeah. Before the 80s, it was for kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be zany, which isn't necessarily bad.
Yep. Yeah. Dude, the comics from the 80s and 90s, like, I mean, I think we blew them off for too long because they are some of the best stories. They really are good books. They were just so printed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Crazily printed.
Any other DC news going on?
No news, but just a quick mention again. I probably mention it every week while it's going on. Stargirl, another great episode this week.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil it for people, but another member of the JSA introduced.
Yep.
Really, really a fun, good episode. I enjoyed it.
And for as good as Stargirl was, man, Supergirl was a disappointment.
That's the only DC show I watch is Stargirl. I won't even tune in. I will watch Titans, but I'll probably wait till it's done and just get HBO for a month.
Oh, Titans. Now Titans episode this week, which I'm not going to spoil for anyone. I don't think Dave, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No. I've seen 4.
Okay, well, this is the 5th.
Yeah. Then I probably haven't seen it yet. No.
Okay. It's pretty much focused on one character and pretty much one character only, but it's well done.
Is it Superboy?
No.
Is it the Beast Boy one?
No.
I just want him to focus more on Superboy. That's just me. So.
Even Tony Fett knows that the new season of Tightness is badass.
Did you lift something heavy at work? You've been doing some kegels?
We have someone else who agrees with Tim and I that Stargirl, Mars Comics, is enjoying Stargirl. Reminds me so much of Infinity Inc. from the 80s.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what it's based on. I did a video way back when pointing that out.
Blame it on jet lag.
Tony's reviewing a whole different genre of show. That's why he's not on the channel. Lasso wouldn't have it on his channel. Yeah.
We have certain standards on this channel, and tonight his just wasn't up to that level. So sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. Are we ready to move into the retro review, or is there anything else current going on that we should address or cover?
I don't think there's any big DC news this week. No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, it seems a little bit quiet. And then either with DC, it seems relatively quiet, but when it gets busy, it's a ton of busy at once.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Batman trailer leaked, but I haven't watched it or anything like that.
Gotcha. I haven't seen it either if it has. I didn't even watch the Spider-Man one. I know that's Marvel, but
I have zero interest in it, so I didn't try to watch it.
Yeah. So tonight for the retro review, we each decided to pick our own books. And that's the only picking that will be happening on this channel tonight is our own books. We're not picking our nose or nothing like that. So who would like to go
again,
first?
Why Tony Fett couldn't make it tonight.
Yes. Who would like to go first and share with us the book that they picked to retro review this evening?
I don't care.
I can go first.
Okay. Then Dave, Comic Food.
Because I do have to cut out a little early here tonight. So
okay. Sounds good.
All right. Let's see if I can share this. I will give it a try. I may have had trouble last time. Are you able to see that?
Yeah, I do. There's nothing on it though, but I mean, I saw and I've added it. It's just black.
That's weird. Okay, so yeah, this doesn't work then. It's my comic reader, the digital one. I don't know why it like goes into a full screen. It doesn't share. So all right, so I'll just explain what I read here. So I decided that I was going to go way back to the Silver Age and explore some of my old Green Lantern books. And one in particular I was really interested in was the first appearance of Black Hand, Green Lantern number 29. I tried finding my copy and I couldn't find it. So I don't know, it's lost in a box somewhere. But so Black Hand, of course, is has Jeff Johns basically made him the big bad guy in the Green Lantern universe and really the DC universe. He's the one that brought about Blackest Night. But I wanted to go back to the Silver Age to Green Lantern 29 and see how he got his start before Jeff John got to retcon him some. So it starts out, and of course, on the very first page, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, is attempting to stop a gang of thieves who are robbing, of course, get it out of your systems, guys, a fur factory or a fur warehouse. So I'm like,
it's like fate was pulling you to this issue.
I mean, the very first page, I'm like, are you kidding me? So Green Lantern stops this robbery of this criminal gang at a fur warehouse. And after he does so, this guy shows up in a suit and a trench coat, and he's got this little device, and seems to be like sucking some kind of green energy out of the location where the fight occurred. And you see him follow Green Lantern around to several different locations where he's, apprehending the criminals. And afterwards, he uses his device to basically what he's doing is leeching the energy, the residual energy from the Green Lantern ring. So who knew it did that? And he introduces himself as William Hand. Now, William Hand, he basically says, yeah, I'm a bad guy. I am a villain. And the reason being, well, I have a really wealthy, well-to-do family, and I don't like them. So he's the black sheep in the family. He doesn't like his family, extremely wealthy. And to get back at his family, he's going to be a bad guy. And so he creates this costume for himself, and he decides to call himself Black Hand. Again, his real name is William Hand, and he considers himself the black sheep of the family. So hence, that's where the name Black Hand comes from. And this little machine he was working on kind of looks like an Etch-a-Sketch. Actually, what it does, he was absorbing that green energy, as I mentioned, and he's testing out in rats now the fact that he can actually transport these rats to another dimension where they cannot return based on his little device powered by the green ring's energy, the residual energy. And so his big plan is he's going to confront Green Lantern, and he is going to transport Green Lantern to another dimension. And at the same time, that green energy is going to then still come through the other dimension into his device so that he will be able to use the energy and basically use Green Lantern as a battery stored in another pocket dimension. So let's see. So at this point, then Hal Jordan, he reaches up with Black Hand in the streets, and Black Hand uses his device, and he cuts off half of Green Lantern. So only the left half of him disappears and gets transported to this other dimension. But the right half of Green Lantern's still here. I'm not exactly sure why. So Hal Jordan's like, oh no, what am I going to do to get the other half of my body back? Meanwhile, Black Hand
cut in half, but he's all right.
He's all right, yeah. And I told you it's silly. So Black Hand makes his escape actually Green Lantern decides to fly off in the air. I don't know why, giving Black Hand the ability to sneak down into some basement where he we learn also that as a criminal, he wants to be the best criminal there is. And so what he has been doing for many, many years now is he's been practicing pickpocketing and other minor crimes. And every time he does, anytime something goes wrong or right, he catalogs it in a book. He also has a photographic memory. So this is going to be his edge over all of the heroes and the other villains, because whenever anything should go awry with one of his criminal plans, it's okay because he's got this book with every possible situation planned out of what to do. And conveniently for him, he's got it all captured in his photographic memory. Kind of silly. But yeah, so the first place he goes to rob again, the security alarm goes off. And at that point, he recalls back in his memory to the book and the page of what to do if the security alarm goes off. And that's where he remembers that a simple copper penny can be used to replace the fuse, act as a fuse, and turn off the alarm. And so that's what he does. It's just that simple. Everything in this book is just that simple, which is, silly. But as you mentioned, Tim, it's for kids. Green Lantern shows back up at this point. Oh, I'm sorry. No, before he does, Black Hand goes to a party, like a fundraiser, a charity fundraiser, and sees his brothers there. And they are talking bad about him and happy that he didn't make the party. But then Black Hand shows up, takes off his mask, reveals to his brothers that he's actually their brother, William Hand. And he goes on to explain to him that his one brother, who's a finance guy, he's actually become richer than him. So he's outdone him. His brother, who's a scientist, well, Black Hand has invented better things than him, so he's outdone him. And the other one's a celebrity. But now that Black Hand is such a famous criminal, he has in fact outdone him. So that is his goal and mission in life. Is unlike the Jeff Johns version of Black Hand, this one he's really just out to, one up his brothers. He's really upset with his family. At this point, Green Lantern shows back up, and he's his full body again. He got the other half of his body back somehow. Defeats Black Hand very quickly with his ring. Black Hand says, "How did you do that?" And at this point, we learn that what Hal Jordan did is he stood in front of a mirror, saw the other half of him reflected back, used his ring to scan it, and then used his ring to create his other half again. So it was just an illusion that his other half was back, thus tricking Black Hand, stole his device, clicked the button, got his other half to actually rematerialize for real this time, and he grabs Black Hand and takes him off to, I assume, prison. And that is the end of the story. So again, everything is very conveniently happens for both Black Hand as well as Hal Jordan. Anything that they need to happen in the story to move it along simply does, and it's kind of interesting that the Power Ring has these additional abilities that I never knew they had before. Like it can just like scan something and then create a replica and fool Black Hand. Meanwhile, Black Hand's angry at his family, and really it's not about the power of the search for death and all of that. So that obviously came later with Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns does keep that hatred for his family, because doesn't he kill his family when he comes back to life?
You may be right. It's been a bit since I read it, but I want to say you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But he did kind of change up his whole power set.
Right. Yeah.
Let's say hello to some folks who have joined us recently. BTC Moon Guy is here. That's awesome. Great to see you here. We got a big old Texas-sized yeehaw for the FNG collector who is here. And then I can't forget, because right when Comic Foo started into his review, who popped in, put a big smile on my face. I'm scrolling up trying to find his comment, but YouTube is 90 MFC. So thanks for stopping by and joining us on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. Oh, and Cookie from Just a Little Podcast is here. Great to see you. So, Tim, if it's okay with you, I think I want to go next, because my story almost in a weird way kind of ties in to Comic Foo's issue. And I know that
furries in it.
No furries, but and there's something I'd like both of you to see. And Foo, while I'm reviewing, if you don't mind getting out your book show or having that ready, we'll get to that when we're done, since you have to pop out a little bit earlier tonight.
Oh, okay.
So if you're okay with that, Tim, I will jump into my Fanboy Live in the Retro Review. I picked Super Friends issue number 29. Man, you're getting, there's a little bit of it for you. So the issue starts out, we got Wonder Woman on JLA monitor duty with Zan and Jaina. They see that there's this rocket coming towards Earth. The rocket makes contact and essentially says, abandon your planet, because all exposed life will be taken over. And we're going to rule this planet. And Wonder Woman says, if you think that the Justice League is going to allow this to happen, you're sadly mistaken. And they say, we don't deal with unintelligent individuals, or we're superior to you. We're not dealing with you. So, okay. So that gets Wonder Woman to thinking, and she heads down to Earth, and she remembers something that specifically that they said. Let me see if I can change this light a little bit. So she says they said all exposed life is going to be diminished. So she uses the vibrations of her lasso to make her invisible, sending portions of her body into another dimension. And upon the arrival of the other Super Friends, she does that to them. So essentially, they can speak to each other when they're in this dimension, and they can function in that dimension, and their bodies can function in the real world too. But they need assistance from Zan and Jaina as to tell them how to fight. So Wonder Woman gets all the Super Friends sent to this dimension, and they're ready to take on this spaceship that's landed and has started this disintegration. You might say, well, why doesn't Superman just, he's Superman. Well, they forewarned that there is some kryptonite that they have as well, so that's not going to work. So the Justice League, the Super Friends, are taking cues here from Zan and Jaina on when to punch someone, when to move forward, how far away they are from a spaceship, so on and so forth. They find with their bodies out of the earthly dimension that they're able to penetrate the force shields and get closer to the ship. And the kryptonite Superman feels that there's kryptonite there, but it really isn't affecting him. So he surprises at that. So the Wonder Twins give amazing direction here on how to fight these characters that want to take over Earth. And essentially they win because they're the Super Friends. So Wonder Woman reverses the direction of her lasso, so it brings them all back. So they're all back on Earth now. Superman still can't get near that ship because there's kryptonite in there. So she heads in there. She's not sure what she needs to destroy, so she just destroys everything. And essentially, these people who wanted to take over Earth say, well, then we're going to a planet that's not inhabited, and we're going to take that over. Why they didn't want to do that from the start, we don't know. And Zan and Jaina get a little bit of a word in with them. Essentially, that's what you get for thinking that you are superior to us. So Super Friends reunite with Zan and Jaina, the Wonder Twins, and they say, we couldn't have done this without you. And they say, I don't know what you mean. We didn't lay a single punch on anyone. We weren't even there. You're the ones who were there. You're the ones who fought them. And Batman pinpoints to them that every person in a team matters. And that's your lesson of the story. As Jaina says, there may be many jobs to do, and all of them are equally important. So that is our wonky 1980s story. But one panel I wanted to go back to, and I'm going to blow myself back up just real quick. I thought this when I was a little kid and saw it for the first time. I think it every time I see this. Does this not look like it's a turkey on top of Robin trying to fight someone?
Yeah.
That is crazy. I always think of Turkey Robin every time I see that. So that is my retro review for tonight.
Very cool.
And I see we have a food trooper has PTSD. Who knows what he's witnessed? Food trooper wife appear in distress. Mars Comics agrees with Wonder Woman. When you don't know what to do, just destroy everything. We have another food trooper comment. He's very popular tonight, and I haven't even mentioned him.
I know.
He does seem closer to the screen.
Yeah, he does a little bit. So before we move on to Tim's retro review, Comic Fu, what book show did you bring for us?
Oh, well, in light of the Green Lantern 29 that I reviewed earlier, featuring Black Hand, again, I mentioned Jeff Johns kind of made him the big bad guy in Blackest Night. But actually, as it turned out, as the story progressed, the Black Lantern that he kind of created or resurrected, I guess, actually has a I don't know, more powerful character behind it. And actually even Black Hand is subject to this character some, and that would be Necron. And he is Tim, what would you call him? He's not like a god, but
he's like the personification of death, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Like,
so from 2011, I've got the Mattel DC Universe Classics, and I'm sorry, I think my connection's bad tonight. We've got that big storm going through. So sorry if this isn't coming here clearly, but this is the Necron from Mattel's DC Universe Classics line. This is the Connect and Collect figure that you had to buy from, I think it was 2011 Wave 20. Characters like Hawk and Dove. You had Reverse Flash, Sinestro, Green Lantern. I think there was a few more. What's that?
Did you open some boxes, Dave?
I did not. No. I have a lot of those characters still sealed. No, I actually went out on eBay and bought this that somebody had put together. And I see now you can like just the arm alone, you can get on eBay for like $10 now. It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, this is the character put all together. It's really cool. He's got these blue eyes that are kind of glowing. You can see his heart through his chest. He's got these chains. Got another one on his arm there.
I tell you what, the DC Universe Classics Build-A-Figures are some of the best figures I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
But I thought he was pretty cool, and no, I did not want to open one, so I let somebody else open them, and I bought it from them.
My Collect to Connect figure that I did, and I did the same thing. I bought the pieces on eBay. You know, I'm looking on eBay going, I got to find a torso. But I got Giganta.
Oh.
Which I know at the time, I don't know if this has changed, but she was the biggest figure they had ever made in that line.
Wow.
And she's pretty cool.
Yeah, she the biggest character in DC.
She was, at least at the time that they made her, she was the tallest one that they had ever done.
I mean, just in the comics.
That's a good question.
Probably some character in space is bigger.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I was just thinking of that new, villain that started in Kyle's series, the new Guardians from the universe before. What was his name? Like Relic or something?
Relic,
he's super tall.
Is he?
But that was way after that figure, though.
And Fu, do you have anything going on your channel that you want to plug before you have to bail on us?
Well, we've got a Mystery Men on this Tuesday with Rob Boswell as our special guest, and so that should be a lot of fun. Otherwise, no, I got a few unboxing videos that I filmed, but I haven't had a chance to edit them yet. So I don't know. I might miss tomorrow's episode. We'll have to see how early I can get up and edit that.
Man, that might be a catch-up day for me then.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, if for some reason you're not subscribed to Comic Food 2814, I don't know why, because thousands upon thousands of people have already. But make sure to head over there, and the link is in the description for all of Fanboys channels and the video description for this video. So make sure to sub everybody up too. We appreciate that. The reason we're doing Fu's goodbye right now is because he has to bounce. He has a hard stop time, and the food trooper is getting closer and closer, and we're not going to upset him.
Maybe after a certain time, like a Gremlins.
Could be.
That thing comes to life.
Yeah. Could be. Anything else, Comic Fu, you want to say before we let you bounce?
That's all for me. I wish I could stay longer. We should have started earlier. We start late because of Tony, and then he doesn't show up, you know? So
yeah,
there you go.
I honestly forgot Tony wasn't going to be here until pretty close to show, even though he told us last week.
Yeah.
Well, I will let you guys wrap up the show. I'll get out of your hair, and but thanks for having me on the channel.
Great to see you. We'll see you next week for the next Fanboys Live and the Retro Review.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, Tim, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I was having trouble picking an issue, and then I saw Fu, had a hard stop, so that even changed my thing again. I was actually going to do a 5-part ramen 5-part Robin story, and just try to surmise the story and show some of the better parts from it. It's a Robin story called Wanted, one of my favorite stories. But going with a quick one, this is one of my favorite from this era. This is Batgirl issue 12 from the New 52.
It's got a great cover.
So for those that don't know, she was, of course, Oracle, and they wrote in that she got a back implant that would allow her to walk again. And I really enjoyed this series up until it became the Batgirl of Burnside. I thought it was really well done. So this is actually, I guess, a middle part of the story, but it's one of those issues, to me, you should be able to pick up any issue, whether it's the first part of a story, the middle, the end, and it'll make you want to get the other parts. This is definitely one of them. Batgirl is trying to track down a new villain called Nightfall, which is a pretty cool name for a villain if you're into the Bat family. And she's tracked down this detective. This detective is a dirty detective, and this detective is in cahoots with Nightfall and Nightfall's crew. So, Batgirl's just confronted her. She has a gun, all that. And Batgirl's like, finally, I'm going to get some answers. When suddenly the detective is like, uh-oh. You can see on her screen a heat signature is incoming quick. And that would be Batwoman, who's coming to get her because the DEO who she works for has proof that she's a dirty cop. So she's coming to bring her in. And I just love this segment. I don't know how well I could show it here. Doing a terrible job. Look at that face. Batwoman, when she comes in, turns immediately and sees Batgirl. And even Batgirl's like, we've never met before. They don't know each other. And here I am in a dirty detective's apartment hanging out. This detective immediately takes a shot at her. Apparently, Batwoman has super speed, just dodges it. She goes and takes this woman down. And Batgirl's, worried. She's about to get information pertaining to Nightfall. And she's thinking to herself, I know Batwoman's a hard case, but I don't know of any training per se she has. So she's thinking she's going to ninja Batwoman. Batwoman immediately knees her. And they start fighting, and Batgirl could tell, she's trying to figure out our reach advantage. She's trying to figure out my weaknesses. Batwoman just headbutts her, takes her out. And I like that, one, because Batgirl Barbara isn't the best fighter in the Bat family. She's just come off of being crippled for years. There's no way she should be able to take Batwoman in a straight fight. You could even see over here, she's holding a Bat concussive grenade behind her back, because now they've calmed down and they're talking, but she realizes if this don't go the way I want, I'm not going to be able to contain Batwoman. And, she's basically explaining, I need this woman to find Nightfall. And this woman's like, Batwoman, I think you're being played. You're here for such and such, but I think, Nightfall's playing you. So they get a message because this woman, of course, this detective works for Nightfall, and she knows she's been compromised. She's like, tell Batgirl to meet me here at this time or I'm going to kill this kid. Basically, you find out what Nightfall is. She's a woman, and there's 3 other people that were inmates, and they're people who take a hard line against crime. Like, they just want to kill criminals. Of course, the Bat family don't play that way. And basically, they've kidnapped a kid who was caught trying to steal a car, and they want to kill this kid, and Batgirl thinks that's excessive, which of course it is. We see a brief glimpse with Commissioner Gordon. Basically, I believe he's finding out that Jim Gordon is no longer in his son. It's like an evil villain. It's no longer in Arkham. So here you get to see these other 3 accomplices of Nightfall. They start fighting Batgirl, and you actually see the aforementioned Jim Gordon here is talking to Nightfall. He's given her information, and basically so she don't murder him for being a criminal. And this fight's pretty cool. The one has like hot girl wings, immediately wraps a rope around Batgirl's neck, is trying to choke her out. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty hardcore how Batgirl takes her out, shooting her around this side, her grapnel into her face. We get to see a little bit of fighting, and that's when Batwoman shows up right as the dude seems to be shooting a percussive weapon, like a bazooka looking thing, but I guess it's gas. So basically Batwoman is handling those three. Batgirl's rushing to try and get to Nightfall, and you actually see the boy I mentioned over here on this side. Looks like they've cut off his legs. You know, this is just a kid that was going to steal a car, cut off his legs, messed his face up. And as she's doing that, you can see on the panel here, her eyes light up. Where this issue ends, you finally get to see Nightfall. Almost looks like a old-timey Azrael costume with a purple hood. Nightfall has stabbed Barbara in the side. That's where this issue ends. I like this issue for a couple reasons. It was just memorable of the meeting between Batwoman and Batgirl. And I'm a huge fan of Batwoman. I really enjoy that character. And I thought, you know, something New 52 did was change a lot of the characters. And I thought this was done the correct way for them two meeting. You know, two very intelligent women sizing each other out, because the fight between them was really the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Sizing each other out, and it was done the way it should be done, in my opinion. And then even the reveal and meeting the new character, villain of Nightfall, very cool. So I'd recommend getting this whole storyline.
I like how you said that their very first encounter was with Batgirl at, you know, essentially a dirty police officer. You know, was it a police officer? You said, yeah. And
yeah, as a dirty police detective, yeah.
Police detective, yeah. Because then you know that makes Batwoman wonder, well, is she in on it too? Is she not who I thought she was portrayed to be as?
You could read so much into the actions, because she burst in the window and sees Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that was anyone that wasn't Bat Family per se, or like Superman or somebody, you think Batwoman would immediately go for the costume, right? You know what I'm saying? Instead, she turned and went for the detective with the gun, giving her benefit of the doubt, but still sort of looking at her like, I don't like what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Very good story.
Did you ever watch the old Birds of Prey TV show that lasted one season?
I have not.
You know, that's something I'd be curious for you to check out sometime. You know, overall, if you start reading reviews on the internet, people didn't like it and don't like it at all. Yeah. I actually kind of thought it was decent. Now, I didn't get to see it in first run. I didn't get to see it until it came out in home video. But they have flashback moments, you know, because Barbara Gordon's Oracle at this time, but they have some flashback moments to her as Batgirl, and she's wearing that classic Batgirl costume. And I really liked it, and I'd be very curious to see what you thought of it. If you want to invest the time sometime. I think it's 13 episodes. So
I think it's a really underrated part of the DC universe. You don't see a lot of people talk about is that Birds of Prey team.
Yeah.
You know,
and I don't think the last movie did much to really help that, even though, you know, Black Canary is.
It wasn't really the Birds of Prey.
Yeah, it wasn't the Birds of Prey. Exactly. It was called the Birds of Prey, but it wasn't. So
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, if you ever check that out, that's something I'd be curious to see what you think about. So
definitely, I think I have CWC, and I know I was watching some Constantine on there, but I don't know if all that's moved to HBO or not.
Yeah, I'd have to double check to see if that's on HBO Max or not. But, and I know that
I'll probably get HBO for a month once Titan ends.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And I don't want to support HBO or Warner right now, so I'm waiting.
Yeah, zip through all 3 seasons and see how much you can check mark out of Doom Patrol. Now, Doom Patrol is weird. And I mean, it gets really weird.
I started Doom Patrol and couldn't go with it.
Okay.
Like sometimes, when you lay down to watch TV, you want to relax, and it's like, this isn't relaxing. Like,
No, that's not a relaxing show. It's, I watch it while I'm fully awake, and I still go, "What did I just see?"
Yeah, I've heard it. It doesn't seem like a show for me.
Yeah. So, you said Stargirl. Is that the only thing you're watching current then of superhero TV?
Yeah, that's new shows. I watch Stargirl and I watch Walking Dead. Other than that, I watch a lot of Asian shows on Netflix and anime.
Okay. There's a few of the superhero shows that I'm not watching right now. I think I gave everything a try. I couldn't get into Black Lightning. I tried. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow I really liked, and they just lost me. The writing just got too bad, and it just got too out there. And they had so many great characters to work with that they just didn't do justice to. That what happened was I ended up taping an entire season, and I never watched the season I taped. And when they came back from that season I never watched, I didn't pick it up or even started taping it. So I just gave up.
What happened. But with that show and Flash, every so often I'll try to go back to where I was, and I'm like making an episode or two, and it's like I'm just done.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still way back at the beginning of the season. Flash just started, like maybe an episode or two in.
Yeah. I had really had hope, since this is the not only the final season, but it's the last half of the final season of Supergirl, that we're going to get some really good stuff. And I would be shocked if we get one decent episode out of this last. It certainly didn't start out that good. So, which is a shame, because the casting's really good on it. The directing's good. It's the writing's bad, and they try to take each episode as a way to tackle some socially conscious issue. Don't need to do that. I mean, if you can fit it into your story, not at the expense of the story, that's cool. But you don't have to do that with every episode. Just give me a good episode. If it works that you can fit that in, that's great. But don't. It feels forced in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to discuss before we start to wrap up and look at our book picks and stuff?
Next week we should be on Tony Fett's channel, and I believe we're going to do JLA Scary Monsters.
See, I've never read that, and I'm looking forward to that. I think that could be really good.
Yeah, it was. We did a poll on my channel, and I didn't realize it finished second. I thought it was Tony's pick.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's what's up. It's a cool. I haven't read it since I got it, but I remember it really stuck out to me, and I enjoyed it. So it's going to be like a fresh reread for me too.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What did you bring for a book pick tonight?
I had deleted my videos way back when the whole Papa thing was coming up, or you could go back and look. I have a pretty extensive Mad Magazine collection. A big fan of it, and I especially like Sergio Aronas, so I've been collecting DC Superstars. So recently I picked up, this is issue 13, which features Sergio Aronas.
Oh, wow.
If you read Mad, you'll recognize his art. He does a lot of the I forget what you call them, like on the sides and bottom of the pages and stuff. And when I picked this up, I decided to pick something else up I would always see ads for, but just never come across in the wild, and that is Sergio Aronas Destroys the DC Universe. Very, very good book. And apparently, so I posted this on Instagram, this won an Eisner Award.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
A little bit throwback. Do you remember Fred Hembeck, the way that he drew?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it kind of reminds me of, the Hembeck style of art.
Real quick, I did do a look at FOMO video on my channel today, and tomorrow it'll be early because I'm going to put it up before I go to work. So around 4 a.m. my time, I'm putting up a top 10 favorite action figures in my collection so far. Some cool stuff.
Nice. Very cool. How many of your action figures do you have out of the box?
The majority of them, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. You'll see you'll see at the end of my video, you'll see a little view of what I have out in display and stuff like that. But yeah, you'll see what I have in boxed into. But yeah, it's very rare that I want to keep something in a box. I like to mess with them and play with them, and
sure.
You know.
Hello to Tylox the Mighty who stopped by. Do you find that a lot of them have a hard time? The very few that I've taken out of the box, they just don't want to stand up on their own.
Yeah, I mean, for me, DC Direct has terrible articulation. It's really tough to get them to stand. Even a lot of McFarlane's now, I've mentioned before, they'll come with like messed up legs.
Yeah, I remember
the ankle or the knee
about that.
A little bit.
Yeah,
but just in general, I'd say majority of the figures will stand for me. But it's, you know, you have those few that.
Yep.
Usually they wind up not being ones I'll put on display because I don't want them to break once they fall a couple times, and I just can't get them to stand up.
Sure. Yeah. Well, for my book show tonight, since I reviewed some Super Friends, some 1980 Super Friends issue number 29, which, you know, I used my iPad for that. I do have the floppy of it too, but I thought this might be cool for the book show portion of it. This is the Portuguese version of that same issue that I reviewed tonight. It's called Super Amigos. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a friend in Brazil that keeps his eye open for things like this for me too. He's a collector as well. And there's the back cover. There's not much on it. So he found that for me. And to put it in perspective, here's the regular size of a comic book. It's a little bit bigger than Digest, but not much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Southern Comic Geek did a live talking all about foreign editions. That was really good.
Yeah, I'm really becoming a foreign edition fan. I especially love it when the books have a different cover than the US version had. And I have a few of those. Yeah. I think that's kind of neat. So I like to collect those.
I've been looking into it because just collecting, like, let's say Adam Hughes covers. Mm-hmm. There's some of those covers that are just so far out there, but you can get, you know, the Mexican or, you know, whatever edition for $30. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's exactly the same cover, just slightly different. Like it has their money instead of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just as good. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not just as good, but almost just as good.
Almost.
Yeah.
There's a video too that I'm going to plug. And FNG, we were talking in depth about Superman 78 earlier too. So catch the rewind if you weren't around for that portion. But one video that I'm going to recommend to you, Tim, if you haven't watched it, as well as everyone else that's watching. Check out Burke Family 54's channel. He did a video called I Returned a $500 Comic Book. And it's a DC comic book, DC Key, as a matter of fact. Watch that video and the reason why he decided to return it, which I completely understand why he did. So a little plug for that. So you shared kind of what's going on with your channel. I'll say coming up on my channel on Tuesday, Michael Ackery, about a month ago, did a Bronze Age only mystery box. And I bought one, and I'm finally getting around to dropping that video, and you'll see what books DC and Marvel are in that Bronze Age only box. I haven't even told Ackery what I got, so that will be a surprise for him as well. That will drop Tuesday afternoon. And at your LCS recently, did you happen to see the cover to Detective Comics number 1040? It says Bruce Wayne Behind Bars. Well, that is the comic book that will be the focus of Cover By this upcoming Friday. That's where me and Cookie from Just a Little Podcast and Comics for Thomas, we look at the A cover and the B cover, and we try to pick which is the better of the two covers, and we say bye to the loser. So that's what's scheduled for Cover By this upcoming Friday here on my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you do that. Of course, you want to make sure to sub up Tim as well if you're not subscribed to his channel either. Anything else you want to mention?
No, I think that's it.
I think it does.
Stargirl.
Yeah, watch Stargirl. Look for us on Tony Fett's channel next week for, I guess, the holiday edition of Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. And until then, take care of yourself. And thanks again for joining us. Have a good night. Foo is a furry.